Hey guys, let me know if this is working. It looks like we are live, even though we're not quite where we need to be. It'll take a bunch of you guys some time to get on here, so I'm just going to give you guys a minute or two to get on here. Somebody messed with all my settings, so that's why this took so long. Just let me know if you guys can hear me. And to be honest, I got in here a little late. Hey guys, I'm starting to see you guys come in the chat, so that's always a good sign. That means we are good to go. That's always good. And where's my OBS? There she is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the chat in here so everyone can see the chat. Window capture. Well, I'm glad I figured it out. I hate technology, to be honest. Well, I don't hate it. I like it when it works the way it's supposed to work. There we go. Okay. Boom. We are live. All right, guys. So this is going to be a Q&A. What I'm going to do is, since I finally got this sucker going, is I'm going to share the link with the people on the Facebook group, because unfortunately they did not get the link. And the idea is that all the elite members in my Facebook group are going to be able to ask me questions about training their dogs. We're going to follow up on some stuff in relation to their dogs and so on and so forth. So internet's a little slow too. So bear with me here. There we go. All right. Okay, guys. So quick little update for us here at Shield Canine. Just so you all are aware. We're going to be moving, I'm going to be moving out of trial season right now. We are going to be preparing for the Canadian Nationals, so hopefully myself and Gage will be at the Canadian Nationals. But I do now have a little bit more time to dedicate to other things, in case you have been wondering where all the live streams went and all that stuff. I've been focusing on our IGP stuff, but now I've got a little more time for the pet training. I've got a little more time for all the other projects that we have going. So just a quick little update on what we've got going on in-house here. All Shield Canine locations will be offering now day training and doggy daycare. Day training, for those of you wondering what that is, you drop your dog off, you leave your dog here, we train the dog for the day, and then you take your dog home. We are also working on some more online courses. I am working on a dog training school curriculum. I'm just working on that curriculum right now. And the idea is that it is going to be a school that you can attend online. There will also be some in-person components. And then when you complete the learning within that school to our satisfaction, those of you that successfully complete that learning will be given certifications. And for me, certifications have always been something I've scoffed at. And the reason I've scoffed at certifications is because so many people are giving out meaningless certifications. I mean, let's face it, most of the certifications out there aren't worth the paper they're written on, and they're given by people that also don't know how to train dogs. So it's just a chain of meaninglessness. And for me, I say, I get people really do value certifications. People really want that. They want that acknowledgement on paper, so on and so forth. So I said, you know what? I happen to be pretty good at training people to train dogs. I mean, at this point, we here at Shield Canine, we've produced, I would say, I don't know, maybe like almost 20 dog trainers at this point. And like, I'm not talking like, they know how to make Fido follow a cookie. I mean, like professional dog trainers that actually make money training dogs, can actually help people. And most of the people that I've trained literally had no experience with dogs prior to them coming to me. And it didn't take me years and years and years to do it. In many cases, it took me less than a year to do it. And so if I get people coming to me that already have dog experience, because let's face it, most people that want to learn how to train dogs do have some experience, or if they don't have any experience, we know what to do with them. So we're just writing up a curriculum. We're condensing all the information, you know, and we're going to have a dog training school for people soon. And it's going to be really exciting. We're going to have a certification process as well. It's not going to be, hey, everybody who shows up gets one. You're going to have to pass the tests. You're going to have to demonstrate your actual ability. And it's not a written test. I don't get it. You know, like all these places, like they're giving out certifications for written tests. It's like, I don't give a shit if you can write a test. I give a shit if you can train a dog. So your test is going to be showing your dog, right? Your test is going to be showing the actual training that you can do with your dog if you want to be certified by us. Don't get me wrong. There will be theoretical components to the learning, but the real, you want a certification, you can train a dog. That's going to be and your video, the video of your test with your dog is going to be posted on this channel for everyone to see for eternity, basically. So even if 10 years down the road, you're Mr. Big Shot dog trainer, that video is still going to be there. Or if you're a new dog trainer and hey, look, I'm certified, blah, blah, blah. People will say, well, who certified you? This is the video of my certification. So this is what we're going to do. The other thing, guys, the other thing that we're going to be talking about is, what was it? Oh yeah, we got a seminar coming up in Florida, Ocala, Florida. All the working spots are sold out, but we do have audit spots. So if you're a local dog trainer or not even a local dog trainer, if you want to learn, listen, what is auditing? People don't know what auditing is. Auditing means you get to watch and ask questions. Okay, so maybe you're not training your dog. Here's the reality. Most of the dog training seminars I went to when I was learning to train dogs or learning how to work on my dogs, I took audit spots. Not only are audit spots cheaper, you don't really get like crazy amounts of progress in just 2 days of training, right, with your dog. But if you have the mind that you can watch what's happening, you can see what's going on with all the people that do have working spots with their dogs, and you know, you take notes and you ask the right questions, you can then go home and make a real difference, whether you're training other people's dogs or your own dogs. So this is going to be a obedience and behavior modification seminar, Ocala, Florida, the World Equestrian Center. I believe it's September 2nd. It's on our website anyways if you go to shieldk9.ca. So we do have audit spots left for that. And I hope to see you guys there. So a lot of you asking, oh, when are you coming to the U.S.? This is when I'm coming to the U.S. I have no plans for anything else at this time. But yeah. All right. Hi, Haz. When will the elite members go to a new platform? We're going to start migrating to that in the next couple of weeks. Thank you for asking. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to scroll up in the chat. Will you do a seminar in the UK? If someone has me out to the UK and it all makes sense, then of course. Should I train obedience on a dog I want to do protection work? Of course. Why wouldn't you train obedience with a dog you want to do protection work? Onyx is here watching from the USA. That's good. How do you feel Onyx will greet you when you see him this September after 2 years, 3 months time lapse? You know what? I'm not sure. He might decide that he doesn't. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to close my door. There's somebody's dog barking out there. Let me just go close that door quickly. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Okay, guys. So, yeah. How do I think Onyx is going to do with me? I think Onyx is going to be maybe a little bit, well, he's definitely not going to like me right off the hop, but I have a feeling that when he smells me, right, and he takes my odor, then he's going to be very happy to see me. But from sight, he's definitely not going to notice me. And I'm definitely not going to get handsy with him until I can see that he remembers me. And you'll see it in his body language. He'll probably smell me, and then you'll see the tail start going. And if I don't see that tail start going, I ain't touching him. It's just that simple. All right. So guys, if you're an elite member and you jump on this stream and you have a question for me, I want you guys to ask me with elite member before your name. And if I recognize your name, I will definitely answer you. So you guys obviously get preference for any questions. All right, so the first question here is from Ariel. Hi, Haz. When you put a puppy in the crate, do you leave him with a chew toy or maybe a Kong? Yes, I do, Ariel. Oftentimes I do. It's not a must, but I definitely will do it. Someone asked me, how's Mace? Mace is doing well. Mace has been, like I said, Mace lives with a new owner now. So he's doing well with that gentleman. Hopefully he'll come back here for some training soon, and we'll be able to get back into it with him. Somebody posts, please don't rage posts. You helped me out a while ago on my GSD resource guarding issue that was bad. I couldn't solve on my own last time I caught you on a live. Just wanted to say thanks. Somebody asks me, oh, you're welcome, by the way. What are my plans with Kevin? My plans with Kevin are finish the training, which, I mean, to be honest, let's be honest with Kevin. I'm not going to like demand a high level of obedience or anything from him. We're at the point now where he comes when he's called. He'll lie down when I tell him to lie down. He's generally not reactive. And if he is reactive and I tell him to stop, he'll stop. He has a place command. He's pretty e-collar conditioned now. He's at the point where I'm about to take him out in public soon. I'm going to take him in public. And at that point, once I get him behaving in public, it's going to be time to find Kevin a new place to live. And we're going to be careful that we find him the right place to live. No people with, very busy, crazy life situations. I don't know why. Whenever I say, okay, this dog's available, I get so many people. I got 6 dogs and 3 kids. And this is not the situation that you should really be throwing another dog in the mix of. Kevin will do well in a countryside property. He's a really great guard dog. Whatever fence you throw him behind, he'll eat anyone he doesn't know that comes in there. And he's only going to get better with age. He's a beautiful dog. He's very sweet with the people he knows. He's an absolute sweetheart. So for us, we're going to start kind of looking for the right situation for Kevin. And he's not free. He's not as expensive as our like fully trained protection dogs, but he's definitely not free. So we're going to find the right situation for Kevin, and we look forward to updating you guys all. I did film another Kevin video today, so that new video should be coming out soon. All right, I have a Czech working line German Shepherd. We struggle with her and our Lab Shepherd mix. She tends to bite him when going. I don't know what that means, but you got to get control of your walk. It sounds like you've got just dogs that are out of control, dogs that don't know the meaning of the word no, dogs that don't have any obedience on them. So when you are in that situation, of course, they're going to do all sorts of things that you don't like. These questions are all answered, when you go through the online training or when you go through the in-person training. There's no magic, do this and it'll stop. There's none of that. Like, you've got to train your dogs. You've got to create impulse control. You've got to have dogs that understand the meaning of the word no, that understand how to hold a loose leash, that understand when to down when they're told, come when they're called, all these types of things. Grey Wolf Tactical writes, got my new PSA puppy a couple weeks ago, and only a couple of days into the foundation work, he's already doing better than my last GSD. Genetics do have some play in it. Genetics have more than some play in it, my friend. Genetics have all the play in it. Would you teach one-way engagement in a pet dog? No, I wouldn't, because engagement has a expiry. Okay, what I want with my sport dog is I want him fully engaged with me for the duration of the time I'm on the field. Realistically, most dogs can manage about maybe 10 minutes of that without reinforcement, right? Then at that point, you're going to have to continue to reinforce them to continue to get that engagement. That's not realistic, and it would be exhausting for both you and for the dog. It's all right to teach engagement to a pet dog for fun, but you have to think of engagement like the way you're talking about it, the type of stuff you see me do with my sport dogs. It's kind of like when I turn my car on. I turn my car on, I drive my car, and then I turn it off, and it sits in the parking lot. The parking lot guy is the analogy for life, guys. Like, my dogs, most of the time, are just dogs. They have functional obedience. They listen to me when I tell them to do things. But the engagement is only for the competition field, right? So this idea that your dog's going to like be hyper fixated on you, staring at you, aroused by you, all that type of stuff, just like every day, especially like a pet dog that doesn't have any particular drive or anything like that, it's not realistic, and it wouldn't be fun for both you or for the dog. Okay, guys, let's see what else we got here. Is it difficult to bring a dog over to you from the USA for training? Depends where in the USA you are. USA is a very big country. For some people, we're a few hours away. For other people, we are, 23 hours, 25, 26 hours away. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. I train Shiba Inu for fun. What went wrong in my life, you figure? Well, Shiba Inus are generally not fun dogs to train. What happened here? Sorry, guys. I'm just seeing something here. Okay. Yeah, Shiba Inus are generally, like all the Asian dogs, the Chows, the Shiba Inus, the Tibetan Mastiffs, not fun dogs to train. Very, very stubborn dogs, very difficult with pressure, very difficult, just in general for training. We've trained quite a few of them at this point, so we know very well how to deal with them, but they're not fun like a nice Lab or German Shepherd to train, that's for sure. Elite member, this is from Nick. Hi, Haz. How do you teach your dog to alert to noises such as someone breaking in at night while ignoring general noises such as doors closing outside? To be honest, Nick, if your dog isn't predisposed to do that already, there's no reliable training that you're going to put on your dog that's going to make him like that. Like, for instance, Kevin, okay, or my German Shepherd Gage, for instance, both those dogs will notice any different noise, any kind of like new person. The way their nervous system is wired, the way that they're bred, they're literally designed for that, to like always identify the thing that's different, because they're more wired to kind of be aware of potential threats. They have more of a suspicion, they're like a paranoid person, So no, it's not something that you can generally be like, look, don't get me wrong. Like a lot of protection trainers these days, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, put the dog in the house and I'll come outside your window and I'll agitate him at the window and I'll agitate him at the door and we'll do all this type of stuff. And you can do it. But generally speaking, that's not going to really carry over. Like that's something I find, like dogs that just naturally guard the property, there has to be some genetic impulse within the dog to do that. It's not something you can just train them to do and then they'll just always do it, right? Let's see here. Any online programs for IGP? We have a ton of online programs for IGP. We've got focus healing. We've got dumbbell retrieves. We've got positions. We've got a lot of stuff on there. Let me see what else we've got. Someone says, thank you for the protection. That's great. Wolf Tactical says, thank you for the Protection Foundation course. And then what else we've got? We've got 1.5-year-old German Shepherd, has basic obedience and started protection. Looking to board and train with you. Curious if a full 4 to 6 weeks will come close to finishing her out with the off-leash obedience and tracking. I don't do tracking in board and trains. I'm sorry, I just don't have the time. Off-leash obedience, yeah, no problem. We finished that out in 4 weeks, no problem, with a German Shepherd. Tracking, I don't unfortunately have any time for that right now, so we couldn't help you with that. Let's see here, what else we got. This is from Zinch. She's an elite member. I have a female 2-year-old, fully off-leash trained. When we go hiking, she will mark both pee and poop randomly. How do I prevent this since the trails are sometimes pavement? You can teach a command to go to the bathroom, and then encourage the dog to do it at that time. Can you stop it? I mean, I can stop a dog in the moment from going to the bathroom. Like if I see that, I'll be, hey, don't do that. And maybe I'll give him a little bump on the collar just to remind him to keep moving. Is it something you can reliably, like if you ride the dog a lot and then you have some spots where you say, okay, this is where you can go to the bathroom. And then you have a bathroom command, a potty command, like we go over in the course. You could certainly do it. But it will require some levels. Like dogs, some dogs are just motivated to mark a lot. They like marking. And then if you want to remove the marking, basically what you have to do is put them more in work. And then when you see them going to mark on something undesirable, just, no, and just keep them moving. Don't let them kind of linger in that area. Massachusetts, 5 hours from Canada. Well, you're not 5 hours from me in Massachusetts. You are about I think maybe 14 hours. I'm very close to Buffalo. I'm about an hour from Buffalo, in case you're wondering where we're at. So you got to do the math on that and figure out. But do we get dogs from the U.S.? We get dogs from the U.S. here all the time. I literally have one or two here every month, basically. I've got one here right now, I think, from Maryland. So nice Doberman. We're doing some obedience and protection with him. Okay, guys. What else we've got? Skeeter, the guy who's training Shiba Inu, says, well, thanks to you, it's been a little better, and they listen extremely well. Appreciate all you do. You're welcome, Skeeter. Glad you're having a good time with your Shiba Inu. I think my 2-year-old dog is afraid of the dark. We train and play at night. Since he was a puppy, he's very obedient even when he's afraid. Do you have any advice? I just try to encourage him to play. You know, the more you can try and get him to play when he's scared, and the more he agrees to play, obviously the less scared he is. If he refuses to play, that's generally a big sign that he is a little bit worried. So the more you can kind of maybe pair the undesirable thing, the darkness, with the play, I think the more you'll start to kind of turn the dog around a little bit. Alexa Georgian says, I mean, are there any rules for bringing a dog from the USA into Canada? Do I have to jump through hoops? I live 5 hours from Montreal. I'm not sure how far from Ontario. Well, I just told you how far you are from me. Ontario is actually very big, Alexa. It'd take you like 3 days to drive all the way across Ontario. In terms of hoops, no, your dog just has to have a rabies shot. It's the same for going back the other way. Let me just hang up that phone. Hanging up the phone. We don't want anyone bothering our live with their phone calls. Okay, Maddie Kiley, elite member. I suppose I'd like to know more, like, where's the line between normal intact male and creepy? Also just purchased your book, super pumped. I'm glad you did. Creepy? Like in terms of what, Maddie? Like some males, if you're talking about marking, some males are very motivated to mark. In fact, I have a Malwine here right now. And he loves marking. He just gets off on it. He's peeing on everything. He poops on everything. You know, it's just his thing that he likes to do when he's out in public. And, you know, it's one of those things where I have the choice. It's like, look, I can either ride him for this, and for sure, the more you ride him, the less he does it. But if you want to just kind of relax with the dog, like, I mean, this is a dog that we are going to sell ultimately. So we've made the decision to fix the dog. This is one of those circumstances where, again, we've got a dog that's over the age of 2, so it's not a problem. We can fix the dog, and you know, it's not going to be an issue. So he doesn't need his balls at this point, and it will reduce the marking. So, you know, is it creepy? No, it's just his natural inclination. It's what he wants to do. You know. Let's see here. This is from Jason. Hi, Haz. I'm looking to get a German Shepherd in the future. Needs to be a family dog first, but will likely want to dabble in sport. What do I look for when selecting a breeder? What questions would I ask? I don't ask breeders questions, generally. The reason why I don't ask breeders questions is because I should know the answers to those questions before I ask it. In this age, this is the online age, guys. Like, you can literally find everything on the internet. If you're serious about a working dog, first of all, look to see whose dogs are actually working. Not say they're working, not their grandfather was a police dog somewhere or some magical story like this. Whose dogs are actually working, who's actually doing things with their dogs, who's actually out there competing with their dogs or whatever it is, whatever version of work it is that you're deeming as work. Who's doing it, right? Whose dogs are protection dogs, whose dogs are, you know, sport dogs. When you find those dogs, then you say, okay, well, who are the breeders of these dogs? Right? All the dogs' names are out there on the internet. You just look up the pedigree. What's the kennel name? Okay, this kennel name. I see this kennel name over and over and over again. Or this dog is from this kennel. I like it. Okay, no problem. Now you move forward and you say, okay, I know where the dog is from. Now maybe I reach out to that breeder that's producing that type of dog that I like, that I can see living my life with. And I say to him, okay, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me? Right? It's really kind of like, if you're reaching out to a good breeder, it's not, and you're not interviewing him. You're qualifying yourself to him or her, right? That's kind of the vibe. The second you start trying to interview people, what you do is you remove, like, I guarantee you most of them won't bother. Like, I don't respond to anyone that, like, is trying to get me to, like, is like interviewing me. I don't respond. Like, I don't have time. I don't have time to go back and forth and blah, blah, blah. I deal with people that are, okay, I'm ready to take a dog within the next few months. Here's what I'm looking for. Can you help me? Yes, I can. No, I can't. All right, let's move forward. You know, I want a dog 2 years from now, and I want this. And do you do this? And it's just like, done. I'm out. The second I just quickly, look, guys, like a guy like me, and look, there's tons, I guarantee you, you contact a breeder that, you know, let's say has no problem selling dogs. He's going to give your email about a 3-second glance. And if within that 3 seconds you disqualify yourself, he's just going to pass you over for the next guy. He doesn't care, right? And that's what it is. So you have to think of it like that. You have to be educated. You have to be an educated buyer when you're buying a dog. And I can't imagine why you wouldn't be, considering you're going to spend 12 years of your life with this dog on average. Okay, let's see here. Any advice starting up a dog walking business? I want to start out doing this, and as I gain experience, start training too. No, because I don't walk dogs for a living. That being said, I would say this: whatever business you're starting, look at the models of success. Find the superstar dog walkers out there, right? See what they do, and then, for the most part, imitate it, but also make it your own, if that makes sense. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, especially with something like walking dogs. There is a formula for success and there's a formula for failure. There's actually probably a lot of formulas for failure and very few formulas for success. Identify the formulas for success and implement them in your business plan. All right, let's see here. Roberta, my 2-year-old German Shepherd, Golden, is hand-trained, off-leash, extremely attentive. I'd like to use the e-collar to fine-tune his skills. I'm nervous starting e-collar training. Well, make sure you know what you're doing, Roberta. You can, either go and train with a trainer. You know, you can take our online course. It's up to you what you want to do. But you definitely should know what you're doing when you're using pressure to train a dog. Or any animal, to be honest with you. Cyril Arnold could you quickly go over dogs you have for sale? Not really. I got a bunch of them. Suffice to say this. You know what's funny for me when I sell dogs, guys? Sometimes I'll say, okay, I don't have a lot of time. I'm so busy the next few months. I've got this young dog. He has a lot of potential. I'm going to put him up for a very reasonable price. I'm not going to put him up for the tens of thousands of dollars that I sell my trained dogs. Like my trained dogs, guys, look, level 2 family protection dog on average, around 35K USD. And then my level 3 dogs are way up from there. So you guys get an idea. When I'm selling, sometimes I'll have a nice green dog in. Like I'll give you an example. So I had a nice dog. His name was Mac. I still have him, by the way. His name is Max. Super nice dog. I got him as a puppy, put him for sale. Nobody bought him. And then he spent a month or two here, and I just kept liking him more and more and more. And I saw the kind of dog that he's going to be. Big, strong, stable, good defense, really high prey drive, but very sweet, very nice. And I'm like, this is the perfect dog for us to raise and train. It doesn't make sense for me now to sell him for puppy price anymore. So I keep the dog and I train the dog. And now, of course, everybody's hitting me up for the dog. And I'm like, bro, he's gone. Well, he's not gone. I'm keeping him. I'm going to sell him as one of our, family protectors or executive level protectors trained for tens of thousands of dollars. And it's like, so there'll be times when you can catch me with a green dog, a nice dog that has potential, maybe a little bit of training, but is not finished. And these dogs I let go for very reasonable sums of money, because I know, I just maybe don't have the time to finish that dog, or, I'm not going to get to be able to finish that dog for a while because we're working with all the pet dogs that we have in here and so on and so forth. There's only so many of us to go around. And sometimes I'm dog rich. And sometimes I'm dog poor. When I'm dog poor, I don't let anything go. When I'm dog rich, as I am right now, to be honest with you, I'll let some stuff go that's not finished. So, if you're looking to buy a super expensive, fully finished protection dog, that's, in my opinion, worth every penny, we have those. And if you're looking to buy a green dog or a dog that's partially trained, that you can put some work into and really turn into the dog you want for a more reasonable sum of money, we've got those too. So that's all I'm going to say about the dogs we have in stock. Those of you, if you guys are looking for, if there's anybody on here looking for a top tier sport dog, like you have aspirations of competing at a high level in IGP. I just so happen to have one for sale, but he isn't cheap. My buddy Carson, those of you guys don't know, Carson's Vasco's owner, Vasco's handler. And if you guys aren't aware, him and I both imported a dog at the same time, in the same shipment actually. I imported Yaxie, and then he ended up getting Pharaoh. And he's recently decided that he's not going to continue to compete Pharaoh. And the reason why he's not going to continue to compete with Pharaoh is because he had Vasco. He really likes super hard, super kind of edgy, aggressive dogs. And Pharaoh is a very stable, easygoing dog, but he's super intense in the work. But outside of it in life, he's a nice, easy dog. Like he's the kind of dog any lady could handle. He's the kind of dog your kids can like take to the coffee shop, so on and so forth. You know, like he's definitely not Vasco. But Carson now has a bit of a taste for the wild side. So he's decided that even though we've put a really nice foundation on Pharaoh, that he's good. He wants to part with Pharaoh and get something a little more crazy, if you know what I mean. So a lot of people think they want crazy, but very few people can actually handle crazy. Carson is one of those people that can handle crazy. So he's decided that's the route he wants to go. But Pharaoh, super, like that's a dog that can go international IGP, no problem. Super, super awesome dog. Has all the quality you look for in a dog for that. All right, next seminar you have on your agenda. My next seminar is in Ocala, Florida. I might do a pop-up seminar at some point during the summer here. I'm not sure. But my next seminar that is planned and in the books, Ocala, Florida. There are audit spots remaining. If you want to watch and ask questions, you're welcome to come. Okay. My 8-month-old German Shepherd is in his teen phase. How do I get his attention? You get his attention by being the purveyor of consequences, both good and bad. If you are the giver of all things good, freedom, affection, play, food, interaction, right? Then you're a very important person in his life. If you are the giver of all things, well, not all things, but a lot of the things that may be bad, you can correct him. You can say no to him, and it's a meaningful no. Well, now you're a very important person in his life. You're a shot caller. Most people aren't shot callers in their dog's life, which is why their dog ignores them. When is a good time to call you? Me personally, never. Me personally, it's never a good time to. If you know me personally, you have my number. You just text me. I'll get to you. Just because I'm terrible. Like everyone calls me when I'm training a dog. When I'm training a dog, I will not answer the phone. Or if I'm doing something else work related, I just will not answer the phone. And then oftentimes I'll forget to call the person back because that's the way I run. I operate, unfortunately. But if you text me, then it's always there for me and I'll get to you. But if you're calling the main number, look, they're training dogs here too, but they will get to you. They will answer your call. If they don't answer it right away, just drop them a text message and again, they'll get to you. Let's see here. Pilot Kisses says, just buy a Shield Canine puppy and you won't have to ask any questions. Easy peasy. Do you think trainers make better than average breeders as well? Thinking about Franco at DSWK Mail. I don't know who that is. I got to be honest with you. The answer to your question is yes and no. So there are some breeders that are, quite frankly, quite crappy dog trainers, but they're very good breeders. And there are some really good dog trainers that are shitty breeders. And I'm going to tell you where I think it goes well together. So dog trainers that are good breeders, dog trainers that tend to be crappy breeders are dog trainers they tend to be one of two things. They're either delusional, okay? So like they're just like kind of completely out to lunch with their training, what they're seeing. And because they're so delusional on the dog training side, they're naturally delusional on the breeding side, and they're not able to be realistic, honest, or even tell that what they're doing is good or bad. So, that there's those ones. And then there are some breeders that are fantastic dog trainers, and they're able to just bring out the best in the dog. All right. And I'm thinking of a few names right now that I will not say. And I would never buy a dog from them because they like kind of like these really soft, sensitive dogs that are really like, if you know how to bring these dogs up and you know how to like make these dogs into all, like, you can really make these dogs look to be so much more than what they are. And because the dogs are just so biddable and they're so, they have drive, and but they're also very sensitive with the handler. It's very easy to kind of control them, to put pressure on them, to reinforce them, and you see this more in the Malinois, by the way. There are breeders like that, and they breed regularly, and they do well with the breedings, but it's just like, I would never own those dogs, because I know, like, without all that support from the trainer that they're getting, those dogs aren't like anywhere close to what you want them to be, right? I like kind of both, right? I like a dog that brings all the genetic things to the table that we're looking for, but that my training can also enhance him, so that we both kind of feed into each other, and it's not this kind of, parasitic relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship. But there are some breeders and some trainers, they're just so good with those types of dogs, and they just really make those dogs feel super empowered, and hats off to them for the skill that they have. Those dogs just aren't generally the kind of dogs that'll go out and do well with other people that don't know how to, push those buttons and pull those levers, so to speak. And then there are some good breeders that are, quite frankly, shitty dog trainers, and almost being a shitty dog trainer, being a dog trainer that puts too much pressure on your dogs, it makes them select tougher dogs. Like, I know some people, like, I know a guy, he's an older gentleman. I wouldn't say he's like, a very old school dog trainer, but like, he's always selecting these badass dogs, because these are the only dogs, that have the toughness and the durability to stand up to, the training that he does. But he's been doing it for generations. So you are now really seeing the strength of the blood that he has, because he's generations just selecting these types of dogs, because those are the ones that do well under his training, right? So you can definitely see it both ways. All right. Have I had any experience with Australian cattle dogs? What do you think of them in terms of protection? I have had experience with cattle dogs. They're cool, protection. I mean, again, I don't really buy those dogs for protection. That doesn't make any sense to me. If you want a protection dog, buy a dog from the breeds that are meant to do that work, and that's fundamentally it. I mean, I'm sure there are, and I've seen videos of some that'll bite a sleeve and all that. Is it something that I would pursue? No. If you want to race, you buy a race car. If you want to drive the family to the beach, you buy yourself a minivan or a big SUV. Let's see. What else we got? Steven says, wish that I had found you 5 years ago, grew up with and owned 3 German Shepherds, so I thought I knew the breed. I bought an energetic champion working dog, big bite, high prey, etc. Wow. Well, you found me now, Steven, so hopefully we're helping you. Upvote comment. Just got a dog, new trainer. Wondering what to train him other than sit and stay. Could you give me 3 to 5 things you should teach him? I love your channel. Well, that's actually a good question. And I'll tell you why it's a good question, because a lot of people don't know what their dog should know. Here's the fundamental things that your dog needs to know. Like, I couldn't live with a dog if it didn't know these things. I need my dog to not pull me on the leash. That's number one. All right? I need a nice, loose leash walk. Anyone should be able to walk my dog with the leash just hanging on their finger. That's number one. I need a dog that will come to me under any and all circumstances without a leash on. That's number 2. I need a dog that will go on a bed and stay on a bed, or on any surface that I indicate him to stay on, and not leave it for hours on end if necessary. I need a dog that will do a sit and a down stay. And lastly, this is a preference, it's not a necessity, I need a dog that'll walk next to me on command without a leash on and stay next to me under distraction. Those are my must-haves. Those are my must-haves. I say the heeling isn't a necessity, because if I have a dog that has a strong recall, he can just kind of be loose around me. I can just keep calling him whenever he gets a little too far. All right, so that's what I need. All right, so Donovan says, how can I get in contact with you about buying a pup from your breeding program? You can email us at info@shieldcanine.ca and get on our waiting list. All right, Douglas, any plans for another herder breeding? Not right now. I do not have plans for another herder breeding at this time, but soon. Omer asks, I want Pharaoh. Do you accept shekels? No, Omer. I don't accept shekels, just like I don't accept pennies. Hope to see you soon, my friend. Mad Villain. Hello. Any specific guidance on impulse control? Yes. Teach a strong place command. Place is where it all starts. If you can teach a strong place command, you will have good impulse control with your dog. Aloha from Hawaii. Love your book. Well, glad my book made it all the way out to Hawaii. This is an elite member. Protection has been started. Realistically, how much could be obtained in a 4 to 6 week board and train? Wanting her titled and planning on how much board and train it would take. You mean titled for IGP? IGP is, Angie, IGP is, I'm not doing IGP board and trains right now. IGP is a very complex thing, like, yeah, I can off-leash train your dog, in 4 weeks, but we're talking IGP, like that's not just off-leash training. We're talking like, the dog needs to be engaged. The dog needs to be performing multiple behaviors in a correct and high-powered way. The protection within IGP, the dog needs to have a bark and hold. The dog needs to have an escape. The dog needs to have a full, firm, hard, calm grip. The dog needs to be able to handle drives and long attacks. There's so much in IGP. I don't do that in 4 weeks. IGP, for me to train an IGP dog takes me about 1.5 years, okay, if I'm going to do it the right way. I could probably rush it and do it in 6 months if the dog had a foundation, but it would be a lot more than anybody, unless money wasn't a thing to you, would want to spend, and that's the reality. How do we attend the Ocala seminar? You attend the Ocala seminar by going on our website. On the top, you'll see a banner. It says Sunny Florida, a seminar in sunny Florida. Click on that and follow the information on there, and you can get to the Ocala seminar. Best way to teach a dog to get active. Well, I just so happen to have an online course called The Secret Sauce that will teach you how to get your dog active. And that's Anthony. I'm not trying to sell you anything. There's no way I could tell you how to teach your dog to be active in just like a sitting here. I got hours of video on the topic. But fundamentally, do I back tie the dog? Yeah, you can back tie the dog. It certainly helps. But I just build a lot of drive and engagement towards me physically, and I teach the dog to channel that into obedience. That's the simplest way I can say it. Can a very social, people-loving dog be trained as a protection dog? Yes, this is from Alexa. Yes, they can. It just depends on what you want that dog to be. So if you want that dog to be the type of dog that's just going to maul someone that walks into your house, if they're not supposed to be there, probably not. Can you train a very social dog to be the type of dog that on command will light up and on command will attack? Yeah, absolutely. Jess says, hi, will your online course aid in training an assistant dog, or is it more focused towards protection training? We're hoping to train one for my nephew with severe autism. My online course is actually primarily for obedience training and behavior modification. I do also have one for protection training. We have multiple online courses. You can check them out at shieldk9online.com. That being said, in terms of like an autism dog, I don't really do any service dog specific stuff. The obedience that our dogs have is the kind of obedience that any service dog should have. A full off-leash heel, all that type of stuff. Amanda says, have a well-trained, mild-mannered dog normally, but how do you train out dog aggression towards other dogs during thunderstorms? Wow, so your dog goes after other dogs during thunderstorms? Well, there's no, again, it's not magic, Amanda. There's not like, do this and your thunderstorm aggressive dog is going to stop. It's a holistic approach. Training is a holistic approach. Your dog, whenever I hear, oh, my dog does this or my dog does that, does your dog understand the meaning of the word no? Well, yeah, he does. Well, then why can't you say no and why doesn't he stop? Well, then he doesn't understand the meaning of the word no, or he doesn't respect the meaning of the word no. Does your dog have a place command that he will hold under any distraction, including thunderstorms? No? Well, then you better teach one. Does your dog have that level of control? And in most cases, even though people say, yeah, what you get down to is, why is your dog doing this? Your dog's doing this because your dog doesn't have the fundamental trust and respect and understanding of what it is that you want him to do and also not do. And that's why he's doing all these things. So full approach. Whenever I get a dog in here with behavioral problems, my remedy is very simple. Complete functional off-leash obedience. The reason why is because functional obedience is a compliance ladder. You must do what I ask you to do. Yes, I would like you to like doing it. Yes, I'm going to reward you for doing it. But fundamentally, you must. You must come, you must sit, you must down, you must go on the bed, you must not pull me on the leash. When I've created that level of compliance with a dog under distraction, now when I say to him, hey, don't do that, now I have already so much compliance that he says, okay, I won't, or it won't take a lot of convincing to convince him that he must not do that. That's the holistic approach to dog training. The other thing, and I didn't mention it, but I should, structured play. Why is my dog seeking arousal outside of me, right? My dog, I should be the primary source of my dog's fun and enjoyment. I don't say, realistically, of course, is he going to want to run around and smell the smells and play in the grass and do all the things that dogs should and like to do? Of course. But he should also get enormous joy from interacting with me and playing with me. You want to talk about, a dog that enjoys playing with me. Kevin, okay, the Caucasian Ovcharka. There's nothing he likes more than wrestling with me and running with me and doing stuff with me. He loves that stuff, right? Way more than he loves doing it with anybody else because I'm able to reinforce that behavior. I'm able to make that behavior highly beneficial to him. All right. Going on too long here. Next one. What do you do with Gage when guests come? He has never met. His reactivity everywhere else is under control, including my yard. Very simple. I either tell Gage to go on place, or I lock him in his kennel if there's little kids, because I don't play games with kids. So I have little kids, and sometimes they have friends come over. When the friends come over, all my dogs go in the kennel except the Chihuahua, right? And that's just me respecting those parents, and also having small children. I don't know if I would ever forgive myself if something happened to them or to another child because I was Mr. Smart guy and decided to leave my working dogs loose. No, I lock them up. If I have a dog that I have any doubts about, I lock them up. I know what dogs can do. I've seen the damage dogs can do, both to other people and to myself. I don't play games with little kids, ever. Any experience neutering early due to cryptorchidism? I know what you're saying. For some reason, my brain's not allowing me to read that. He's referring to the one nut syndrome, when the dog has only one descended testicle. You can still let the dog grow out and then cut the dog. I don't neuter early for that. You can still let the dog reach 2 years of age. Don't worry, cancer isn't going to overtake his body. I know everyone's like, oh my God, he has an undescended testicle. He's going to get cancer. It's like, mostly no, but is there like an increased risk of cancer? Yes, but it's not right away. It's like late in life. So don't worry. Let the dog grow out and then you can cut it out. All right, let's see. Larry says, what's your opinion on German Show-Line Shepherds? Are they suitable as personal protection dogs? Generally, no, unless you've got one of those rare ones that can do it. I've imported 2 German Show-Line Shepherds that had the ability to do protection work, but they're definitely not common. Most of them don't have the nervous system or the drive to do that type of work. Okay. Have you heard of behavioral down or calming condition response? What's your thought on using those in public to teach dogs to relax? I haven't, but there's always some new idiotic idea. Listen, you want your dog to relax in public? Strong functional obedience, structured play, and the understanding that, there are things he can and cannot do. Once your dog learns to exercise impulse control in public, whether that impulse is quelling a fear response, like a flight response, or quelling a reactive response, or quelling an excited response, the dog naturally will begin to calm down. It's kind of like the idea that, look, apparently if you do this a lot, you're going to feel good. When you raise your arms above your head, you feel good. That's why when people win, they tend to be like, yeah, and they raise their arms above their head. It works the same way for dogs, but even more so. When you start being able to control their body, you can control their mind. So a lot of people always are like, I got to address the feeling. I got to address the emotion. In most cases, that's not actually appropriate. When you begin to address the physical symptoms of the emotion, such as the things the dog is doing, you can then begin to control how the dog feels. And the more the dog learns to practice a certain physical behavior in variety of contexts and environments, the more that you'll see the dog's underlying emotion change. So I'll get like a dog like Kevin, for instance, who's hyper reactive to anybody he doesn't know. And Now I can put that dog in situations with people he doesn't know, and he's way less reactive, and he's way more physically comfortable and relaxed. It's not that he isn't all the way the reactivity isn't 100% gone, and it would certainly crop up again if I didn't provide constant, reinforcement to keep it from cropping up. But he feels more relaxed and calm, and he's able to recover his calm much faster because I don't allow him to engage in that behavior, that hyperarousal, that insecurity, all that stuff that's associated with that emotion. I just don't allow him to engage in those symptoms, the symptoms of that feeling, so the feelings are starting to go away, and he's able to normalize a lot quicker. Is a dog working mostly in defense and protection work good or bad? It's generally bad. Because what most people mean when they say that is they have a dog that's basically fear aggressive, and they think that this somehow makes the behavior better, like more more real, right? Don't get me wrong. Like, I train all the protection dogs that we train here. I put them in scenarios where they actually feel like their life and maybe their handler's life is at risk, because without fear, right? Without that fear, without going through that moment of like, oh my God, this is for real, you can never really say what the dog will or will not do. So of course we try to implement that sometimes in our training in an appropriate, age appropriate, and scenario appropriate way, but it's not something appropriate to be doing all the time. It's literally saying, is my dog fighting for his life every time we do protection work good? No, it's not. Just like if I wanted to train someone to be a MMA fighter or a boxer, or even just to be able to protect themselves on the street, would I just put them in one scenario after another where they literally were fighting for their life in their mind, right? Regardless of what the reality was, in their mind, they believed they were fighting for their life. No, that would cause way too much problem, way too much adrenaline, way too little retention of like learned experiences. So many bad habits they would pick up. They'd pick up also a lot of negative associations. It's just not a healthy thing to do. Karen says, I dropped my boy there yesterday for board and train. Oh, great, Karen. Reading your book as well. Excellent. I always like it when people are on top of their stuff. Wondering if you can give an example of... Oh, what happened to my chat? Sorry. Chat's gone. There we go. All right. Where's Karen? All right. Can give an example of the difference of using the markers no, nope, and So no for me, if I say no, this is like a cardinal sin, right? Like you've done something really bad, and there must be a consequence for you with that. For me, nope or is kind of like, oh, that's wrong. You're making a small mistake here. So like one is for obedience. Like, look, I know when I'm training people, when I'm teaching people to do something, I just kind of need to keep it simple. This is the big bad no, and this is the, the small no. And the small no is basically what I use for, like obedience. Like I told him to down and he sat instead, right? And I can then say, down, right? But like, or nope, down, because it's not like a big punishment. It's not a big it's not a huge problem. It's just, oh, he got confused. He made a mistake. I have to let him know it was wrong. And then I can, help him get correct, versus you tried to attack the mailman. And I really don't like that. Right. So you have to understand the difference there. But is the words that important? No. I mean, obviously most people say no. And I say, when my dog's like really bad, I say, no, really big, like, hey, knock that shit off. Right. Versus, you making a small mistake. Nope. Wrong. Whatever it is you use, doesn't matter. It matters how you use it, right? Who would you recommend to learn from in Nova Scotia as a trainer? I literally know nobody, Skeeter, in Nova Scotia, but good luck to you out there. Hey, has sent you another email moving forward with Evo. Cool, man. I'll get with you on that. Could you elaborate more on structured play and give some good examples on play activities to do? Ball and tug are fantastic. Fetch games as well, fun. For dogs like Kevin, for instance, who doesn't particularly have any toy drive, and who gets tired very quickly, just physical interaction with me, the handler. I'll run with him. I'll push him. He'll push me back. He'll jump on me a little bit. I'm somewhat robust, so I can handle that. And he has a lot of fun doing it. So it really depends on the dog and what they like specifically. But basically, I'm just looking for the dog to be able to express his joy in cooperation with me. Question: most people are right-handed, not lefties. In bite work videos, I notice more dogs engaging the left. Doesn't it make sense to immobilize the right versus the left in the fight? I want you to watch real engagements. I want you to watch dogs that are biting people in real life. Generally, you're going to find police canine videos on that. Those dogs rarely ever bite any specific part of the body. They bite whatever they can get. So yeah, in bite sports, in protection training, we teach a few key areas for the dog to target, but we also teach the dog, if we're teaching a protection dog, that you bite whatever is presented to you. If all you can get is a leg, you take a leg. If all you can get is a tricep, you take a tricep. If the guy's facing you front on, you grab him by the bicep. But in reality, in real deployments, dogs will often bite just about any part of the body that they can get a hold of. And it's not so pretty. So people that get, the right hand and the weapon hand and all, these people are not living in the world of reality, right? Now, why do we teach specific areas for the dog to target? Because it helps the dog with commitment, right? The concept of commitment for a dog is the idea that I'm going to come in. So like when we speak about commitment in protection work, we're talking about the intensity that the dog engages the suspect or the bad guy with. And when you start giving a dog, especially a young dog in training, too many possible targets, you start to lose the quality in the work. So the grip starts to go, and the dog also will tend to lose commitment, because when you look at a human body, especially one that's moving, there are many options now for the dog to target. So when we teach a key area, like left bicep, right, like the forearms, like a tricep, like a thigh or whatever it is, a calf, now the dog has only a few options. And when he only has a few options, he doesn't have to think about a lot of different things. It helps with his commitment. The more the dog is thinking in the protection, the less committed the dog is. The more the dog is doing without thinking, the more effective the dog is. So the more thoughtful a dog has to be in protection, generally the worse the performance is going to be. And generally, the more doubt is going to come into the dog's head, especially when going through long periods of pressure. If the person's really fighting with him or hurting him, the more he's thinking about it, the more likely he is to move from fight to flight. So the less thought, the more action, which is caused by giving the dog a few very simple and easy targets, the more likely that the dog is going to engage quickly and effectively. So that's a long answer to your short question. How often should I use the prong collar? I don't know, my friend. It really depends on you and your dog. There's no magical answer to that. Let me see what else we got here. If defense is fear, how does one get that super social, people-loving dog to want to light up on someone and at least act like he will bite? Because he must enjoy the fight. How many people do you meet, that are engaged in, I happen to know a few guys that are involved in the MMA community, and they're generally very friendly, outgoing guys. They've got nothing to worry about, right? They're not worried. They can beat up, 99.9% of people that they meet. They're generally nice guys. They're generally outgoing guys. They have no problem, having that social interaction, but they also enjoy fighting. They enjoy the physical competition involved in fighting. They enjoy the adrenaline dump they get from it. There's a lot of things associated with it. So they can, yes, do they experience fear? Of course they do. But for them, it's something that they enjoy to some degree and something that they seek out. And there are dogs like that. Not a lot of dogs, but there are certainly dogs like that. And those are the ones those are the type of dogs that are going to step up to the plate when the going gets tough, right? Is there any chance you would take someone into your interning that is outside of Ontario? Notice said you had to live there. Yes, you have to live here. Is it possible to follow your online courses without an e-collar? They are banned here in the UK. Jess, I'm going to tell you this. We have many members in the UK, and they all train with me, no problem. Don't worry about bans if I was you. But, I'll say this very simply. Can you follow the online course without an e-collar? Yeah, you can. If you want a strong off-leash recall that is reliable under any and all circumstances. Unless you have a certain type of dog, you're going to need an e-collar. My dog doesn't see me as the leader. And by the way, e-collars aren't banned yet. That's propaganda. They're banned next year. So get it done this year. My dog doesn't see me as the leader. How do I work on being pack leader? This pack leader thing, again, are you the giver of consequences? Do you give the dog good things and bad things? Are you consistent with your consequences? Does it matter to the dog if she pays attention to you or not, right? The answer to that question is obviously no. No matter what you might think the answer is, she's already answered it for you. My dogs listen to me because I am the giver of all good and all bad. So I'm the most important person in their lives, right? They might love my wife, they might love my kids, but they listen to me because they respect me because I am that guy, right? So you need to be that girl. You need to be the person that matters the most. And you need to say, I'm going to set scenarios up. I'm going to set the situation up in such a way that this dog isn't going to be able to self-satisfy without me allowing it. This dog isn't going to be able to blow me off if I say don't do something. It's that's it. I would strongly suggest you follow our functional obedience training, buy the book, get in the online course. We'll go through all that stuff. When you have a functionally obedient dog, you have a dog generally that respects you. Let's see here. I'm going to be a new dog owner soon. What is the first thing I should do when I bring a puppy home? How do you set up a puppy for success? Well, I mean, that's a complicated question. Again, I suggest, again, shameless plug. I have a complete online puppy course, which I suggest you follow. But creating a situation where you understand that you're bringing a baby in. Okay, you're bringing a baby. It's not an adult dog, so expecting it to act like an adult dog and treating it like an adult dog is not the right thing. You're bringing a baby in. He has no experience with the world. Assuming you're getting an 8 to 12 week old puppy. He knows he's literally been on this planet for 8 to 12 weeks. Think about how little he has seen and how little he knows. What your job is just like with a small child, your job is to kind of chaperone him through life, expose him to various different experiences in a structured and safe way, and teach him that he can trust you. That, again, you give him all that is good in his life. And you're also within, again, age-appropriate boundaries. Teach him some impulse control and teach him, hey, no does exist and there are some things you must not do. Okay. All right, let's see here. Do most pups in your breeding go on to be decent protection dogs, or is it only a few? Donovan, it depends on the breeding. You know, I've trained a fair few from my program. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that every one of the litters I've done has turned out the way I want it to be. You know, we've definitely had some trial and error with our litters, but we've definitely produced some strong dogs, which I'm very happy with. I'm competing with one of my own dogs, right? Like Gage, just a dog from one of my breedings. There's not a lot of people out there on the competition field that are actually training one of their own dogs from their own breeding. So that's something that I'm doing. I believe in my program and I'm very happy with it. And I think, you know, for most people, there's going to be more than enough dog, especially in the breedings that I have planned for the future. Okay, Karina says, oh, she's talking to somebody else. All right. Elite member, second question is from Nick. Girlfriend has a shepherd who's 3 years old that was rescued recently. We've tried to work on proper leash walking with him, but even with hard pops on the prong collar and rewarding him when he comes, he does not grasp that he cannot make tension on the leash. Is there any suggestion you have or tactics we can use to remedy this? Nick, just progress the dog through the training and move on to the e-collar as shown. Once the dog is ready for that transition, once you condition it properly, teach the loose leash walking on the e-collar. But fundamentally, you know, obviously for some dogs, the prong collar just doesn't cut it. Like, you know, obviously the force you're able to generate on the prong collar is not sufficient to discourage the dog from pulling into the leash, which is why he obviously continues to pull into the leash. There's not enough of a deterrent for him to do it, right? So just follow along the course as best you can and go through all the conditioning and move to the electric. That would be what I would suggest. And there are some dogs that we get, you know, whether the owner's elderly or a little bit maybe, weaker physically and the dog's big and strong, that this is what we suggest. All right. So guys, it looks like we've gotten through most of the questions. A little bit of a shaky start to this live. again, technology. What can you do? But I'm glad I got to connect with all of you. I think that will be it. So again, guys, there is a reminder that we do have a seminar in Florida coming up. I may announce another seminar in summertime. I'm thinking about maybe kind of doing like a workshop, competition obedience and protection workshop, something like that in the summer. But I haven't decided yet. Yeah, that's what we've got going on right now. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you all checking in here. If you haven't, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and follow me on Instagram, because I often post stuff on Instagram that I don't post on Facebook, or sorry, that I don't post on YouTube. So follow me on Instagram if you don't follow me on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and peace out, guys.